What is up? What is up, everybody? Big Cheds coming to you live Saturday, April 13th, 2019. Really happy you guys could join me here. You know, I don't do a lot of shows, but when I do a show, I put my heart into it. And I love interacting with you guys and you gals. It's definitely what I live for, one of the things I live for. And so I wanted to come in and give you kind of a candid view here on Bitcoin, take some of those questions from the chat room. Just as a reminder, you can, of course, find me on Twitter. I am at Big Cheds. Please do subscribe. I am on YouTube at Cheds Trading. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button as well. And, of course, I'm one of the founding analysts at Bitcoin Live, the best-in-class educational platform for crypto. I'm really proud to be part of that, and we'll talk more about that later. You'll find a sign-up link in this video. So just what's up, everybody? I see a bunch of you folks, familiar names, of course, in the chat room. And, you know, like I said, you know, I don't always do these shows. I have other responsibilities, of course, Bitcoin Live. I'm going to do much more frequent updates for them. But I try to do one show a week on YouTube, which is nice. You know, there's other people who do. Other people go every day, twice a day. My man Big Jonas is a workaholic. He does a lot of videos. And by the way, you can find him on Twitter at Big Jonas. Please check him out. Ask him about his mentoring, his one-on-one mentoring. He does a great job. So yeah. So anyway, that's that being said, and of course, I'm not an advisor. I am a Japanese candlestick trader, a volume trader. I enjoy teaching people. My motto is helping new traders avoid my old mistakes. And why is that? I made a lot of mistakes when I started out. One of the first things I did is I put together my blog, chedstrading.blogspot.com, a lot of free articles designed to help other people. You know, once I learned things, I wanted to help other people avoid making my mistakes. That's kind of how this all started. Here we are. Check out the free guide on Cheds Trading, the free complete newbie guide to crypto. It's got over 100,000 views. Definitely check that out. And check out, I did a segment on CNBC's Crypto Trader, CNBC Africa Crypto Trader just a couple days ago, and I was very honored to be part of that. Please check that out. I retweeted the link earlier. So let's get the party started. I'll just talk about Bitcoin a little bit, a couple different time frames, and then I'm going to do some chart requests for you guys. Hey, Indri, good to see you. And then I'm going to do some chart requests for you, you know, as well. So just real quick, let's go in just to the candles for now, and I'm gonna, you know, talk about Bitcoin. I mean, I pretty much said all these things ad nauseum. You know, higher lows now. Finally, you know, I'm going on big picture here. Higher lows. You know, we have our breakout. Okay, pretty straightforward. So here we are. We have our breakout back in April. We're looking at the volume behind these candles. We're looking at the volume on this April 2nd candle, suggesting continuation. We've had some continuation. We're looking for support. I maintain midpoint of this green candle. It would be support based on Japanese candlestick theory. In the interim, we have potentially the first in a series, potentially the first in a series of bearish continuation patterns after topping off, faced with the possibility of what's called an upthrust, a false bull break. I tweeted this out when it happened. I also gave you a shields up call around 52.50-ish. Looked like we'd be topping off, and there is our near Maribozu red candle. What's a Maribozu? Who knows what a Maribozu is? Why don't I just show you? And there we go. That's a near, so it's a near Maribozu where there's really no upper or lower shadow. And that's what we saw on this red candle. Okay, so the size of this candle and the volume behind it suggests some continuation. It's a pretty decent volume candle on this, not capitulation, but a pretty good sell-off. Ran square into this area of demand because we had a lot of consolidation here. Prior, when you have an area right here where we had this kind of ascending triangle, bullish continuation pattern, that's going to be support on the way back. You're not just gonna punch right through that. So even if we get back to what I think is a more reasonable level for a higher low in that mid fours, you're going to have to work your way through this area of support first. That will take time. Look at the volume candles. I'm looking for buying here. I'm looking to see what the buying selling mix is. I'm looking at a general trend in the volume, trying to anticipate whenever this, a lot of squiggly lines. I'm trying to anticipate when we're going to stop going sideways here. What I see is a pullback. I see some type of a bounce forming with this hammer candle. And then not a lot of follow-up from this hammer on April 11th. So look at these dojis. You have buyer exhaustion. You have bears rejecting higher prices, along with indecision. Now you have moving averages, 12-hour. Let's go 4-hour. Now you have, let's hit auto. Now you have moving averages bear cross, 834, EMA bear cross. SMA 20, simple moving average 20, aka middle Bollinger Band. Bear cross, EMA 34. So you get across, flatten out, find support, good to go. In the meantime, can we find support higher than I am anticipating? Absolutely. Maybe 4,800. I just think right here, there's just no way you put in a higher low right here. I'm just not seeing it. I'm not seeing it in the volume. I've remained skeptical. I have preached caution, and I've preached that altcoins are not the right place to be. And I was saying that especially all along here from the middle of April, middle of April, from like the April 3rd, 4th, 5th, this whole period here. I said, Bitcoin's getting ready to top off. When Bitcoin tops off, everyone's just going to go to fiat. They're going to go to Tether. So everything is going to suffer. And if Bitcoin does run, your altcoins will sell, because people will be trying to ride Bitcoin. So I feel a little vindicated. That shouldn't matter. Maybe that's my ego. But the point I'm trying to make is that I believe I'm properly assessing the risk reward here and what seems to me most obvious way to play it. And I have an audience, and I'm trying to kind of preach caution. I'm trying to preach discretion. That's my rant. Let's do these altcoin requests. You guys aren't here to hear me rant. Let's go to ZilQ. I'm gonna go to my master watch list and check out ZIL. For my friend Indri, let's check out ZIL, ZilQ. I'm gonna bring back my oscillators. I think it's funny. Some people actually are making fun of me, saying that I have too many indicators here, but for me, this is a scaled down version. I mean, I only have 4 oscillators. I have moving averages. I have Bollinger Bands. Okay. But I don't have the volume profile here. I could add more. I mean, for me, I feel like this is a pretty simple setup. Pretty simple setup for me. Yet for some people, they see this as like a too much. And I just want more information. And all these 4 oscillators they all give me context, because I can reflect one upon the other. And it's just like, I'm just looking for a little more texture, and I find the texture, and it gives me clues about the trend. So, but whatever, you got to do what works for you. So God bless. Zilq's bearish. You know, we see the price currently bearish. Clearly, we see a nice little peak. There's good volume on this candle. Ideally, you would have wanted Zilq. You would have wanted it to hold support up here. You know, because look, we talk about this all the time. Anytime you take a resistance and you break your resistance, you really need to turn it into support on the back test. Your back test failed. Not only did your back test fail, we're in the 4 hour. Let's go 12 hour. So not only did your back test fail, you basically lost support here as well. Key support. You lost that support. You lost this, you know, next support here on the lows. Both candle and shadow lows from March. You know, you look like you're in bearish continuation. You're pinned down by EMA 8 resistance. So this is in a downtrend. The OBV is still pretty strong, and you do have RSI approaching oversold. So you may get a dip, but I mean, if you're going to bank on the RSI, you're going to look at what happened last time. Look how long it took to bounce. I mean, you hit sub 30 RSI February 3rd, and it really wasn't until like a month that you bounced. So it just looks bad. It just looks bearish, my friend. You're more than welcome. Let's jump right around to the next one. Let's take a look out. So, you know, I actually do want to review. I want to look at like Litecoin, Ethereum, and all that. Let me just do a quick primer. Let me just do a quick primer on those because I know that everyone is interested. I'll do Ethereum, and then I'll take another request. What's going on with Ethereum here on the 12-hour chart? So what was interesting, okay, a couple things. Obviously, a key level I want to see hold on a pullback. We're right here. Basically, right, you know, the construction of these charts are not all the same. Ethereum, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash. We have a different construction in their kind of their higher low structure. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This is the chart I used on the CNBC crypto trader. And you can see how Litecoin led the way with the higher lows, and you had the higher highs. So you can see there's different construction in these four major coins. In that where the highs and where the major resistance and supports are going to be, and they're going to diverge now. So there's some value in looking at. There's a lot of value, I think, in comparing one to another. So, for example, the point I'm trying to make. Let's go into the candles here, so I can get a little better view for you. So there's Ethereum. Look at that. All right, so Bitcoin cleared its major resistance and then shot up 1,000 points. But Ethereum cleared its major resistance and it went up, you know, not as much percentage-wise. And Ethereum ran into some clear traffic from this clear bearish consolidation pattern, which had its inevitable or perhaps inevitable bear break. Look where we consolidated. So this is a clear level of price history, a clear level where bears, and it looks like bears for now have rejected higher prices. But here's what I want to point out. So there's a level we're clearly watching on Ethereum, 163 level, corresponding with the EMA 34 support, potentially lower BB support here in the 12-hour. So if we compare that to Bitcoin, Bitcoin made the higher high. You know, Bitcoin had the upthrust. It's a different construction. I mean, it's just a different construction, right? The top, they're different, right? There's Bitcoin. Here's Ethereum. Ethereum kind of has like a double top construction here. Bitcoin has the, you know, the upthrust, the false bull break, and it made the new high here on April 10th. Ethereum didn't do that. It's just different. Ethereum put in a lower high. So I think it's just interesting. It's worth looking at kind of the differences. Let's take a look at ZEC. Sorry, clear my throat. Let's look at ZEC for 13 Krotik. What's up, man? Good to see you. Take a look at Zcash. Zcash. I'm going to stick on the 12-hour chart, my preferred time frame. gives me enough perspective, kind of like a daily chart, but a little bit more of a trading time frame. So Zcash. Okay. Bottom here in March. We have the downtrend break. You can eye it. You can just eye this. So I'm going to show you what I mean. It just jumps out right about, okay. So this kind of popped out at me, and hopefully you can train your eyes as well. And by the way, I do a segment of Bitcoin Live called Let Me Teach You How to Fish. And I try to teach my method. It's much more in-depth than this. And I go through this entire list of plays you see at the right. And I'll talk about how to find plays and what I'm looking for. And I'm trying to train you. I'm trying to train your muscle memory. And you can see that. Like I just saw, okay, downtrend break. I don't have to draw this, but I can just see it. So like that, what does that tell me? Okay, we have a downtrend. We have like a red light that's turned to yellow, right? So that's what I'm looking for, right? And then I from there, I go, okay, where are the lows? Where's your higher low? Okay, here's your low. Are we able to put in a higher low? I see, okay, we tried to put in a higher low here. It failed, right? So it's like, I'm seeing kind of a mixed bag. I'm seeing it pushing sideways. No real bullish divergence to speak of, or real divergence in any way to speak of. Bulls are really just hoping for like a double bottom here. So if you call that one bottom, you're hoping for some type of bottom here. You had a little bit, a brief dip, but there's not much follow through. It's going to come back. It's going to retest support, maybe even triple. But I would call this one bottom. This whole area here, potentially, if it can kind of find support. So that's your best case for bulls. You're also noting you were able to make a higher high on the candle body. I'm a Japanese candlestick trader, so I see a higher high here. Even though the candle wick, the shadow is lower, the candle body, we actually have a higher close. So that is of note to me. I hope that analysis is of value to you. Let's take a look at... I'm going to jump back. I'm going to do Litecoin. I'll do just a few more here. Let's check out Litecoin. LTC USD, Bitstamp server, 12-hour chart, bearish consolidation. I see kind of an inevitable pullback to support in that $58 area. Perhaps low 60, 61, $62 area. We see this looks to me like a clear bear flag, bearish continuation pattern, bearish consolidation. Don't really have a lot of support on the way down. Only real benefit for the bulls is we have this Bollinger pinch, and the Bollingers are right here. So any kind of drop would be oversold rather initially. So you might kind of see a little break slowly. You got to watch, with the lower Bollinger Band. I think it would make sense. It's inevitable for it to retest support and then put in a higher low. That'd be incredibly healthy for Litecoin. Incredibly healthy for Litecoin to put in that higher low right around like $62. I think we can see that. That's what you want to see. Vigor index reset, OBV strength. You're probably going to need a little bit more oversold RSI, a little bit more value, and that's going to correspond. I mean, ideally, the nut setup, the best way to reset the chart and prepare for an even higher leg would be that pullback to $62, even like a sub 30 RSI dip, even for a few days. That would be the healthiest thing in the long term for this chart, and that would essentially still maintain within the trend of higher lows, higher highs. Let's jump it over to Nebel for AP runaway. Nebel, BTC here, 12-hour chart. Nice little on-balance volume spike. It appears to be accumulated. Getting accumulated here a little bit, but this is thrown off by these kind of ridiculous-looking candles with the volume behind them, with these upper shadows. I mean, this is in theory like a shooting star, but I guess you call it inverted hammer rather in this context, but it failed. I mean, look, you have to. I think here's a case where you have to ignore the on-balance volume, because the on-balance volume is being weighted to these two candles, both of which we've already breached the range, the entire range, like support. No, we're in the middle of the candle. Like we're way below it. That's resistance now. So like this on balance volume strength here is misleading. I think we're seeing kind of a steady downtrend. You can kind of watch for, you have a down sloping, what you can call a down sloping resistance line. So if you're looking for a potential clue, you'd watch for a break and hold potential, preferably 2 candles to close above this line, and then ideally corresponding with support, a higher low, and ideally just looking at this setup, you'd really want to hold this level. You really need to start break and hold 3,300. So I would be careful with the OBV, and this chart is kind of an interesting illustration of why you should be careful. Let's see. Let's check around. ELF for Buki. Let's check out ELF. ELF. 3660 looks like a bearish consolidation pattern. Bear pennant, perhaps. This looks like it will probably go lower. Looks like the RSI dip has allowed kind of a reset. Now the RSI has enough room to push down again. I think this will push lower. And I think we're looking for support. Looking for kind of a bullish confluence. So, I mean, that's a key level you hit, but I think you at least test that again. I think we need to prepare to retest that level, that 3350 area. That might be a decent value area as well. But that being said, if you can break and hold the EMA 8 and close above it, I might be convinced that the one test of that level is, look how important this level is. I'm circling. I mean, it's a key level. Consolidation here, churn here, even here. So, just the one touch, I think you probably need another retest of support. I mean, because you can tell, look, in these bounce candles, this is what's called a 3 inside up pattern. A 3 inside up pattern, right? Some of you might know that. For those of you who do not, I can show you, so I don't sound crazy. 3 inside up. That's a 3 inside up pattern. But look at the volume behind it. So in this pattern, the second candle needs to have the most volume, really. And then the third candle. So like you want the least volume really to be on this red candle because you want the trend to suggest the trend has reversed. But here, here, like the most volume is on that red candle. So that suggests that the bull trend is in force. And then you have the upper shadows here, EMA 8, classic. I mean, these downtrends are always pinned by EMA 8. If you watch my video, you'll see it. And you see why time and time again. Let's look at Bitcoin Cash, and I'll jump back to Alt. ABC here. Bitcoin Cash, 12-hour chart. Kind of similar to Bitcoin in the sense. Let's go back here. I'll look at it this way. So it's kind of similar to Bitcoin in the sense that, like once it broke its key resistance, it had a pretty big pocket. Look at that, Bitcoin Cash. So, all right. So, I mean, clearly that's the level. And that would correspond even with the midpoint of that candle. Yeah, I mean, that looks pretty straightforward. I think Bitcoin Cash, I wonder if I tweeted out a level. I might have tweeted this out before. Maybe I said 220s. I'm just curious. If you don't mind, allow me to sport your patience for just 1 second because I want to see if I'm being consistent. Let's see. Bitcoin Cash. If I can't find it like in the next 20 seconds, probably. Okay. Nope, that's a different one. That's on the way up. Okay, I thought I might have like put a target for like a pullback. I'm just curious because I want to know like, oh, here we go. There it is. All right, perfect. Yeah, I'm being consistent. Look at that. So like my methodology, right? All right, so on the April 4th tweet, let's let's see. A pullback to 211 area would make a lot of sense based on the confluence of support there and still constitute a bullish chart. Yeah, I mean, the confluence of support, all these prior resistances that should be turned into support. Exactly. So that's it. So I arrived at the same. I mean, yeah, so it makes sense. That's the level. So look, bearish consolidation, pull back to logical support, a beautiful higher low at 211. That's what I'm going to be watching for. So my April 4th tweet, I'm sticking to that level. I like the fact that it's at least I arrived at the same conclusion twice. So I'm crazy twice or I'm right twice, whatever. No, who knows if I'm right, but we'll see. Let's see. Promud BAT, basic attention token, 6257. Nice little bounce, but there's not a lot of volume behind it. And despite the fact that you have this lower high break, you broke your tweezer top. What's the tweezer top? That's the tweezer top, right? You broke your tweezer top April 5th, 6th. I just don't see volume here on this bounce. I'm not convinced. It's nice, and now you're here at the upper Bollinger. You have the 834 cross. I have to give it credit for that, but I mean, unless I see something 4-hour to overbought, I mean, this is a really nice bounce. I'm not seeing the volume behind it for me to trust this bounce. That's kind of my problem. And just like it's with a general rule, you have to watch the volume behind any break. I mean, that's just a great clue as to the answer to the obvious question is, can I trust this break? So you have to always watch the volume. Let's do one or two more. Worker X1. Let's do Strat. Let's check it out. Let's check out Strat. All right, we're at Strat. Looking at Strat here on the 12-hour chart. I'm just going to zoom out a little bit to get some perspective. If auto one right there, I just want to kind of get a feeling for it. Stretch out the candlesticks. Yeah, I mean it's in kind of it's trading. This is what's called trading in a box. It's trading in a tight. It's in a tight horizontal range. You have a kind of a well-defined resistance area. You have what looks to be a false bull break or an up thrust, what we were discussing earlier with Bitcoin potentially. And you have a very clearly defined support. And what's interesting, you have the up thrust followed by a potential spring. And that spring pushed you right back to resistance. So, I mean, why not? I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't be buying here, given look at what it's been doing. I mean, until proven otherwise, you just have to assume it's going to do this stupid pattern. 21 to 24. I mean, yeah, why not? I actually think you're not crazy to play this here unless there is something that shows like some distribution on the lower time frames. Yeah, I mean, distribution of the 1-hour chart, fine. I mean, like if you want to enter here with a tight stop loss, like that seems pretty easy to do. You know, it's a pretty clearly defined support area. And if it breaks, then, you know, there goes the whole thesis behind your trade. So, you know, I kind of put it that way. I mean, just to wrap it up, we've talked about Bitcoin. We talked about the size of the move. I've pointed out the differences between the major candles and essentially how high Bitcoin moved from its key, what was key resistance. I still believe, and maybe I'll be proven wrong. I'll eat crow. It's fine. I don't mind being wrong. You know, I just go with what makes the most sense to me. This felt like top. We've had some pullback from the top. And we're looking, you know, we're in the midst, MIDST, we're in the midst of bearish consolidation, bearish continuation. I think we'll pull back and eventually with this lower Bollinger here, ride down to that midpoint, that 44, 45, 4,600 area. And then from there, we'll be healthy. We can put in a nice higher low in the chart and continue on to 5,600 and 6,200. You can find me on Twitter. I am at Big Cheds. find me on YouTube at Cheds Trading. Please hit thumbs up on this video. It will help with the search results. Definitely check out the interview I just did on CNBC Crypto Trader. The link is on my profile page. I'd encourage you also check out my good friend at Big Jonas. He does a great job. Also has his one-on-one mentoring program. Feel free to ask him about that. And I have, of course, one of the founding analysts at Bitcoin Live, the best-in-class educational platform for crypto. We have a great team of founding analysts as well as featured contributors, including Big Jonas. We all put out a lot of different types of content. We have FA articles on fundamental analysis. We have a lot of articles on technical analysis. I personally have articles on trading psychology, Japanese candlestick signals. I like to do updates, let's say a few times a week on the status of the market. I'd like to do a segment called Let Me Teach You How to Fish, where I go through my entire watch list, play by play, and I teach you kind of how to find plays. And I don't want to just give you alerts and say buy here, sell here, stop loss. I mean, that's fine. I'll do that. And I try to stay active with that. And I feel like I have a good record with that. And I'm also cautious. Like right now, I'm not putting out alerts because I feel like it's a bad altcoin market. And when we were at 5,200, I was the same. And since then, everything's pulled back 15%. So I feel like I have a good pulse in that. I stay active with alerts. Definitely check out my webinar on YouTube if you have more questions about, why I'm involved in this project. There's just a great team. I'm honored to be part of it. We've also recently added a monthly as well as a quarterly option for you to try out the platform before committing for a full year, which is the best deal. I definitely encourage you to check that out. The sign up link will be embedded in this video. I will also post this video on YouTube shortly with the timestamps if you want to go back and watch any of this analysis. But I just had fun. I'm glad you guys joined me. I can't do these more than once a week. I have other commitments, but I definitely enjoy doing them. And I hope that the next time I do a show, you'll stop by and you will ask some questions. Until then, take care, and Big Cheds out.